I convene the June 21st, 2023 regular board meeting order at 7 p.m. Chris, please call the roll.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Here.
Vanessa Berry.
Here.
Debbie Bryan.
Here.
Karen Larson.
Here.
Joshua Martin, absent. Liz Sullivan.
Here.
Emily Swistak.
Here.
Great, thank you. Agenda item 2, opportunity for visitors to speak. Public comment is for the general public to address the board. Each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide public comment. Would anyone like to speak? No, all right, thank you. For the whole board, I'm sure we all welcome Tatiana back. Good to have you here.
Glad to be back.
Thank goodness. I need direction, so I'm glad you're here. Item number 3, presidential appointment of LLD standing committees and committee to review fiscal year 22-23 board minutes. The library has 3 standing committees. As president, I am ex officio voting member on every committee. The director and assistant director are ex officio non-voting members of every committee. For physical plant, I appoint trustee Larson as chair, with trustee Martin and trustee Sullivan as additional members. For personnel and policy, I appoint trustee Swistak as chair, with trustee Berry and trustee Larson as additional members. For finance, I appoint trustee Sullivan as chair, with trustee Brehan and trustee Swistak as additional members. I am disbanding the ad hoc advocacy and outreach committee until further notice. As customary, the committee to review the past fiscal year's board meetings is assigned to the newest members of the board. You're so lucky. Therefore, I assign trustee Berry, Brehan, and Martin to the committee to review the 22-23 fiscal minutes. The director will connect with you on this assignment and schedule the review. Item number 4 acknowledges that Vice President Swistak and Treasurer Larson reviewed the April billings in May
May and June.
and June.
No, so it was a typo in there. It said review the April billings in May, but it's really the May billings in June.
The May billings in June.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching that.
Chris, you got that?
In June. Okay, thank you.
Just because I just did it, 2 days ago.
Okay. Trustee Berry and trustee Graham will review the June billings.
In July. That's correct.
Thank you. Agenda item 5, consent agenda. Is there a trustee that would like to pull something from the consent agenda? Seeing none. If not, may I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Wait,
We had that second.
We'll give it to Debbie.
Okay.
I think Debbie, yeah. Any discussion? No.
Don't want to
Roll call,
fight
Chris,
over it.
please.
Karen Larson.
Aye.
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Emily Swistak.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye. Agenda item 6 is unfinished business. 6A is capital improvement project, monthly project status update. Mark, would you please update the board?
Of course, you can call it not just unfinished business, substantially completed business, right? So for this one, it's a kind of a quick update. I'll go through the numbers, answer any questions here, but essentially Komosi is still working to close out the final punch list items and complete the final closeout documentation. Got an update from them this week that the documentation they've gotten from all their subcontractors is about 50% in hand. It's all of the as-built, all of the warranty documentations, all the paperwork essentially is about 50%. For the items on site, they believe they have about 30 items left to go out of a list of over 400 and some odd. So it's a pretty, they've gotten it whittled down. I know that I sent them an update on a few different things that the library had gone over with me over the past 2 to 3 weeks. I sent that update to them last week. They immediately sent it on to their subs and said, please handle it. And there were a few of those items, punch list items such as getting some additional striping. We have the striping substantially complete here, but it's some different arrows and things put down that were supposed to be put down, completed. I haven't seen a response back on those, but usually it takes in this era about a week or 2 for them to hear back. So hopefully by the time we come around next month, we'll have that list down to 2 or 3 items, if not all of them done. The things that are still outstanding, I'll just give an update on, are the Crestron controls for this room. So there was a box in that closet over there, that is going to be the AV control for this room to use with the touchscreens that are installed. There's about 30 grand worth of equipment that's waiting to be installed for the control control monitor module to come in from Crestron. That Crestron piece was supposed to arrive by Q2 of this year. There was a decision made last year to go with this model instead of an alternate because it saves some money. Crestron now pushed it all back to Q4 of 2023. So now we're waiting longer. Camosi did reach out to that vendor without us even asking, saying, can we switch to something else? Can we get everything else installed just to close out the contract with Camosi? The vendor basically told them, this has all happened in the past couple days, the vendor basically told them no, because there's nothing else, that we need this piece to complete it. So we might be looking at a Q4 closeout for this room in terms of the AV system, just so everyone's aware. The other part of it, and this isn't as bad, but the lighting controls are still not quite completed. We still have a few pieces that need to be installed in the ceilings and overhead so that the switches work as they're intended to work. But that should be within the next couple of weeks. They did check on that. They're still being told Q2, which is ending this next week. So,
What about the switch for that side of the room?
switch for that side, they need that extra piece. We've been chasing it. The way it's wired, they need the piece that's coming in to control it, however that works, to switch it out. I'm pushing on that, to say the least, because I'm not sure, completely understand why it can't just be rewired. If they're gonna come out in the next week or two, maybe we live with it, but if it's gonna push anything beyond that, then I think we have to find another solution.
And then, did you mention the overall lighting controls for the whole building?
That's specifically what I was talking about. They're still saying Q2, as of last week.
Okay,
Q2 of this year, so they've got a week or two to get the pieces, and then they gotta get them out here.
and that's part, and then AV controls is Q4?
Yes, for this room specifically, nothing else.
What about that thing over there?
The screen?
Yeah.
The screen we're chasing, we're trying to see, I've already got a request out for a quote from the same company that installed the ceilings to see if they could do something custom on it. What it is those pieces of ceiling tile that look beaten up and old, they're existing tiles, that's actually glued to the bottom of the projection screen. Which is why no one wanted to rip it out, because you'd be basically ripping out your projection screen potentially. So we're trying to see if A, they'll try that, or B, they'll put a metal plate or a wood plate or something underneath that, so it'd be like laminating on top of the bad stuff.
Or even just like a piece of like metal?
Metal,
Yeah,
right.
like aluminum
Right,
cover.
Something more decorative.
right. So that company's called Rockwell, they're out of Freeport. He did respond that he'll get me a quote. It's supposed to come in on Friday, haven't seen it yet, it's Wednesday now.
Okay.
I'll be reaching out, poking. But he did respond to the request. We also have little things that we want to add a few outlets and cabinet covers, I'll call it, at the adult services desk downstairs. We're waiting on quotes for those. There's a few things we're waiting for a few quotes on that are added scope, let's call it. Added scope, things that when you move in, you kind of find, I need this, I need that. Whether it was talked about before and missed in the design drawings or whatever else.
But that's not the lighting control?
That's not the lighting
anything
controls,
like that.
no.
And then how about signage?
Signage, Tim did not get a response to his email that at least that I've seen,
Okay.
when he sent the list that we all came up with last week of when he coming out to finish it. I know Will and I were worried about the bubbles that were on the signage, and I saw it, you emailed right away the next day, those went away. So really, it's just a few pieces and the
Circulation
cir-
sign?
What
the
about
big
that book
circulation.
returns? That
Book return has
got
got to
taken
be
down. like
painted.
some-
That's not any cost to the library. They're going to take care of that. The 10-inch, we need 10-inch letters for behind the wall. We're waiting on a price for those because they were spec'd out. There was some back and forth that we need to massage through the design team and the contractors. One design drawing had those letters at like 18 inches, which is what they were built on. Another design drawing had it at 10 inches. And the contractors went and just did it at 18 inches and didn't cross-reference between the two.
I just, because I had been in, and then I was like, what happened to the letters?
They
Been
know
torn
they
off
have
the
to
wall,
redo the
so I
book
didn't know
job,
what was
yep.
going on.
They knew they had to redo the book return on their dime.
Okay.
So that's what they're in the middle of.
So wait a second, so the circulation services sign, that's not on
The
our
one that's
dime?
the Lisle Library District?
Oh, yeah, Lisle
That
Library
ex-
District.
Yeah, that one.
That's
That's what we're trying to negotiate right now, how we're gonna deal with it, because it's that gray area between drawings, contractor, and how do they split it? Are they gonna split it? Are we gonna push it all in one?
Those two can split it.
Right, that we have to figure out, exactly.
Okay.
I wanna see a cost before I start negotiating. If it's $500 versus $3,000, it's gonna be, it's not a minimal, it's a minimal cost.
Yeah, okay.
But I wanna see what that is before I say, go split it, or
Yeah.
one of you eat it.
Oh.
I have a question, just for clarity. So going back to this room, so are you saying that that doesn't work and that one doesn't
It
work?
works, but right now you would have to go up there and see all the different connections there. You'd actually have to physically plug in. So you can use it, you can plug in, but you'd have a wire hanging from down there, down to the ground here.
So
What's
these
supposed to
little-
happen, yeah,
These little, the little black glassy box there,
Yeah.
it should be we can control that from
Like
there,
a
once
remote?
we get the components in the cabinet in the back.
right. And you'd never have to go up there and touch that.
But in the meantime, we do have, we have projectors on cards, so if we need to do a projection, we've done it like we used to do in the past, so.
Okay, okay. So there's some way to accommodate
Oh, yeah.
folks? Okay.
Any other questions about what you're seeing on the list here? Other than that, I've gotten a budget update. On the next page, you'll see some change order back and forth, but what I can say is I'm working with Komosi right now. They're unaware, now it's not to say that something might not pop up from a sub, but they're unaware of any additional change orders coming our way, which is good news. And above the line in the building cost section, so E-200 in the building construction line, that includes all the change orders to date and the pending ones that we haven't approved. So really, this should be about where we land. I do think there's going to be a few items coming out of contingency for things that we're adding on, say, the casework cabinet fronts and outlets and little things that we're trying to do here at the end. So that 101 might reduce, but 101 as of right now is what we have left for any of the little minor things that we're still waiting on proposals for.
101 is what we have left in contingency right now.
Correct.
Okay. And then, do we have anything pending that will be coming out of contingency?
Just the proposals that we haven't seen to date yet. So the one I keep on going back to is the
Cabinets.
the cabinets down there. Additional shelving potentially for the book holds area. We're looking for a price for one additional shelving unit in there.
Not really high ticket items?
No.
Okay.
Nothing high ticket. And we still do have the known unknowns, as I'll call it, up above the line for anything that we know where the number is, we know where it's going to kind of land up above. So for instance, that 5.7 includes all of Komosi's unapproved and kind of pending change orders.
Now, did they figure out the railings out front? One day I came in and they were out, a couple guys that were out there,
Were you here about 2 weeks ago?
sanding or doing something.
We got an email right after that day, basically saying they believe they are done. We haven't had a true rain event since then, so
Yeah,
we've
I
all
know.
talked and said,
I
let's
want to
wait.
wait until we have some more moisture.
Right,
Yeah.
because we have our suspicions.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. We are still holding $30,000 or $40,000 in that contractor,
Okay.
unpaid.
And
Okay.
they should allow us to wait a little bit until we can see if it can actually weather
Yeah,
any weather.
right. That contractor has done almost no pushback on any of this, so take that. Next page is just the invoices that were sent. So we've got Komosi's invoice, CCS's, and that's CCS's last standard invoice. So from here on out, you'll see a reduced number. That's just T&M essentially as needed as we go. So it's going to be significantly reduced. And then the two furniture invoices. Now, those two invoices are being split into two checks. One check we're paying out because they're substantially complete. The other check is being held until they finish the last little minor pieces they have. Change order log, there were a few approved change orders since last time, so added parking lot striping, east restroom investigative plumbing work, and men's restroom scope. They didn't send that in because they didn't have all the numbers from their plumber originally when they had to do the scoping of the lines that were blocked and had problems. And then the same thing with the added women's restroom scope. We've approved those. We still are left with 4 pending. It's 46, number 50, 54, and 64. I actually just sent Tatiana Will an email about how I'd like to go forward with trying to negotiate those with Komosi. We'll see what the library thinks, and we'll come back to the board, hopefully with some resolution next month.
Oh, okay.
Those are the last, according to back and forth with Tim, those appear to be, to him, the last change orders. So that's great news. I'd really like those to stop. No guarantees there. Might be a couple stragglers, but yeah, we're about done. Any questions?
Questions?
Nope.
Great.
Thanks, Mark.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, yeah.
I know you had a busy day today.
Oh, it's fine. I'd rather be here. It's home. So. All right, take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Agenda item 7 is committee reports, but since we have new members, there are no committee reports. Vanessa and Debbie, do you have any questions about what the committees do? And Tatiana, or, it's in the policy manual briefly, isn't it?
If you have any questions, you can ask me offline or now.
And then how does that work for like scheduling and stuff like that? Do you work with the people on
chairman
the?
would work with the director to put out dates,
Yes.
several dates, and hopefully you arrive at something everybody can make.
Yeah, generally, it's when, a matter comes to light. So if there's like a new law in Illinois that affects something or another, personnel or something, we'll call a personnel policy committee, and the chairperson will, again, throw out some dates. I'll send out an email to all the all the members of the committee, ask for your best availability, and we'll schedule it. And those generally can happen, like board meetings at 7 o'clock at night, or we can even do them during the day if there's a willingness to do that. So.
And even though you may not be on a committee, if there's something of interest from another committee, you can certainly email Tatiana and that chairman to bring up the subject and suggest why you might want to meet. It's not like you have to stay within your silo.
Yeah, and you can always attend any meeting you'd like,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Anyone's invited. Right. Okay.
Okay.
Agenda item 8, staff reports. Director Weinstein.
Okay, so last month, the trustee asked about the drive-up pickup window and how it was working. As you know, we launched that on our grand opening day, and actually, on that very day, one person actually used it, which was pretty amazing since we just advertised it on that day. So far, in May, we serviced 21 patrons that month. So we thought that was great because we didn't advertise it very much. And then patrons picked up over 69 items. And we used May as a test month so the staff could get used to the workflow and, pulling books and having them on the side and, working in the circ office and making sure we could do everything efficiently, and that worked well. So now we can promote it a lot more broadly. We're going to work on some videos, kind of like a point of view from being in the car or in the office. So that should be fun. And we'll start tracking the usage statistics on our July monthly statistics report. So we thought that would be a good way to go there. And then next in my report, Technical Services Director Laura Murph attended the Innovative User Group Conference in Phoenix, Arizona. She received a scholarship for that. And she learned about the upcoming improvements to Polaris, which is our online catalog. She learned about new products and met with other Polaris libraries. And one of the key reasons she went there is to learn about Vega. And if you remember last month, we talked about this new product Vega, which is supposed to interface with our catalog and also promote our programs and services. If you're interested in something like animals, you're looking at books on animals, and then we have a program for kids on animals, and we may have something else. So it should all come together. Now, it's not an inexpensive product. So Laura got a lot of information about it. She'll have a more comprehensive report in her quarterly, but she's also scheduling, I think, some webinars with staff on Vega, and then we'll bring it to the board and talk about it since it's pretty expensive, so you can see, let's weigh it and see, is it worth, are the benefits worth the cost? So that was good, and she really enjoyed the conference. And then, fateful day, May 20th, the library and the Lisle Warhawk Committee had the unveiling ceremony for the Lisle Hometown Heroes mural at the library's south entrance. I first have to commend Assistant Director Savage for working with me to install those window clings, which was not an easy task. They were delivered separately. They're 3x3 window clings on very thin plastic and paper backing, so we spent a good part of an afternoon putting that up and making sure they were square and level, and then we used some credit cards to squish out all the bubbles. If you have a cell phone, you know how that works. Picture it 3x3. So that was quite amazing, so thank you, Will, for handling that with us. So that was good. In the end, it all worked out. We taped some neon orange tarps over them to hide it until the unveiling ceremony, and then on the day of the event, we all the staff and trustees alike who came, we were all wearing our orange summary T-shirts. It was really great. We had over 100 people attend from the counts we had. We had we still do have pop art displays around the building. We also had some neon cupcakes and cookies a la Warhol. And then we had a table that promoted village events, the library events, and we also had the memorial booklet available in paper format. And then the ceremony actually began at 11 o'clock. We had seats for people, family members, and people who needed to sit. And then the Lisle Warhol committee members provided an introduction, had very brief biographies about the 4 honorees. There's also an opportunity for public comment. We actually had quite a few people stand up and talk about their experiences with the people who were honored. I talked about the memorial booklet and how it was crafted, and then Lisle Women's Club members, Lorna Turner and Trustee Sullivan, distributed the hardcover copies to the families and paper copies to people in attendance, so that was wonderful. A lot of people took photos in front of the mural. It was just a really grand event. And then after the actual official ceremony, people like in droves went upstairs, had cookies, and like the whole second floor of the library was packed. Our parking lot was packed. It was just a really great success, and had numerous members of the people who were honored thanking the library for holding the event. So I think it really highlighted that doing something like this with the other intergovernmental entities, the businesses, really worked, the partnership worked, and hopefully we can do something like this in the future, like next year if something else happens with COD or another business, we can do something like this. So it was really great. And it also kicked off the summer-long business opportunities in town. So like the library event was to kick off, you know, all the businesses are holding their own special events too, so that was good. And then lastly, I just want to thank everyone on that same day. Later in that day, I had my accident, so I just want to thank everyone for their well wishes. Everybody's been very supportive. It was a pretty horrific leg injury, but I'm just really grateful to have a really competent staff. Everybody's been doing a really great job. I've kept in contact with everybody via phone and email, and people are really communicative and flexible, and Will's been doing a great job as assistant director and also balancing his YS director position, and I hope to be back in the office part-time next week. Also be interviewing for the YS director position next week, so things are moving along. So it'll just be a little part-time and remote work from this day forward. And then hopefully a little bit more mobility in the next few weeks. So that's my report.
That's great.
Thank you. Any questions?
Of course. I just, somebody did ask me, you know, after the parking lot was full, they made the comment that they were parking across the street. And I just, you know, I know St. Joan allows us overflow parking, and I don't know if there's anything we can do and just, you know, send them regular thank you notes or something, because they're so nice in allowing us to overflow park there.
Yeah, we will do that. We generally do make a phone call. I know Will has contacts there because they've done story times in St. John's and things like
Gotcha.
that. Also across the street, we've used the business Closets by Design, their parking lot too, when we've done things. So they've been very generous, and we've sent them thank you cards for that too.
Great.
Question about Vega. It's relatively new. Does Laura know if any of our surrounding libraries are either utilizing it? Is it available now?
It's very new, and if any libraries are using it, it's a handful. So, but I can look it
Okay.
up.
Well, I'm just curious. You don't need to go through that trouble, but
Well, no,
if there's any comments, you know, to
Yeah, for
pros and
sure.
cons.
References.
Of course, you would do that normally, but.
Yeah, and we'll do all of that research and bring it to the board and show and let you know who else
Great.
has them.
But Laura was a busy lady.
She was.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And all on scholarship, that's even better.
Very nice.
All right, thank you, Tatiana. And Assistant Director Will Savage.
So as you can see, I had a bunch of meetings throughout the last month, so I listed the most notable ones. I met with Mark several times to talk about all the outstanding work that's going on, and what was done, what needed to be done, what needed to be checked on. He talked a lot about that earlier, but most of it had to do with signage, lighting, and then the parking seal coating were the big ones. We had a few door issues as well, but staff and then Mark, we've all been great and able to collaborate and get everything done as quickly as we can. I also attended several webinars with Beth before she left, a few with Jackie, mostly helping me get up to speed with different laws that have been passed and different administrative, professional development that I'm working on. The facility in general, particularly the grounds, I met with tree trimmers several times over the last month, going particularly the south lot. We've been cleaning up. We had a few trees fall over a few weeks ago, so getting those cleaned up and then assessing the lot just for safety in general to see what we're going to be doing about it during the next fiscal year and making a plan for that. And then I also met with our landscaping crew, just walking around the whole lot and getting a update on what's a weed and what isn't, what needs to go, what doesn't want to go, and me giving my expectations and the landscapers getting me up to speed on what they've done in the past and what they plan on doing for the rest of the year. And then finally, Summer Read Kickoff was great. We had a ton of people join us. It was a lot of fun. We estimate over 500 people. We had Stan's Donuts, which are super popular. Ninja Roll Coffee, they ran out of coffee. They were so popular. But Dan, the representative from them, started making more on the spot. So he was fantastic as well. And that actually, the number, so I gave 350 more readers participating in the program than we have at this point last year. We're doing super, super well. We've got a ton of people across the spectrum, adults, teens, babies, kids signed up participating. And so we're really excited about how the summer's going. And I anticipate it only getting better as we head on through July and finish up in August.
Yeah.
I will make this very quick. Where I live, we're having problems with invasive species, and we understand that there are ordinances in the village of Lisle, as well as laws passed in the state of Illinois, that you must go after and treat your invasive species or you're in buku trouble. I don't know what that buku trouble means. Are we having to look at that and provide for that eradication in the future in our budget? Is that something we have to worry about?
So, not that I'm aware of. I can look into that.
Okay.
I'm not sure which species we're really having issues with.
In particular, we're finding there's a species of honeysuckle that people actually can buy at Home Depot, and they plant them, and they think that they're okay in the state of Illinois, and then you have the state come by and tell you that's illegal to plant here, it's illegal to have here, it's considered an invasive species. So that's a big problem,
It
okay?
always has been. That's a,
They're unwieldy.
Yeah, and they take over and kill everything around them. And then there's
Buckthorn?
that's it. And I guess it's really, really hard to kill, and I won't go into details, but supposedly there's something going on where if you don't kill it, you can be fined or something.
I can look into that. I do know that honeysuckle and buckthorn have been an issue for a long time because that was my Eagle Scout project with the Arboretum. Yes, thank you for making me aware, Liz. And if anything comes up, I will keep you guys in the loop.
Yeah.
I would think that the landscaping companies would be on top of that stuff. But I was actually, I missed the summer read kickoff because I was doing forest cleanup of the
nice.
park districts, and they, but yeah, there's, I think it's the DuPage County Forest Preserve has like a new system that they're working out of what to apply to the stumps to get it not to grow back, and
It's a 3-year program, and Green Trails property, I'm on the Green Trails board, and we butt up to the park district, so we're using the same landscaper. We use 3 landscapers, only one of them is on board with the project. The other one says, ooh, we're not touching it. So we're piloting in certain properties that exact same thing. The significance of the impact on the budget for the next 5 years is huge. And that won't even eradicate everything that we have found, and we haven't even found it all. So I'm just bringing it up as do we want to take a look at it before it's a gotcha?
Be prepared
And-
for it.
Yeah, and we butt up to the Park District property, and we butt up to the county property. And I think we use one of the landscapers that the Park District does. So it's like we're all trying to work this out together, find out who's the landscaper that's got the secret sauce, and is it working, and all that jazz.
We can do an evaluation and ask our landscapers to assess and then
Yeah.
budget from there on, you know.
That's all you can do.
I have a question. I think at the last board meeting, we talked about the restrooms and the difficulty for,
Oh, the hand, right, to get out?
yeah. And I know we talked about addressing, I don't know if it was in the newsletter about, you know, you can just turn the handle.
We were gonna put signs up.
And have we?
I don't
I
think we
have
have,
not used
right?
it.
No, we have not yet. We,
Okay, just curious if not.
yeah, we have been working on other sign issues.
Sure.
Uh,
That's more important, right?
Well, I mean,
no,
that's
not more important,
We
but,
can do a kind of in-between sign where it's an in-house design, and then we are looking at replacing those beige signs that came with the package that I don't think are very attractive out there. And so I know Will and I have already talked about working with a sign guy. I mean, it's be a small project to like make
Sure.
them a little more aesthetically pleasing, and maybe more clear, but in the meanwhile, we can do something in-house.
absolutely, I'll make a note.
Great. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Trustee Sullivan, are you sure? Thank you, Will. Agenda item 8 is, I'm sorry, we just did that one, let's not do it again. Agenda item 9 is new business. 9A is adopt resolution 2304, Lisle Library District Board members. May I have a motion in a second?
I move to approve Resolution 23-04, Lisle Library District Board Members, an annual resolution of a true and correct list of current LLD board members.
I will second.
Okay, so this one is pretty self-explanatory, but by law, we need to affirm this list via a resolution. That's the explanation.
Roll call, Chris?
Emily Swistak.
Aye.
Karen Larson.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye. Thank you. 9B is adopt ordinance 23-01, ordinance authorizing non-resident cards. May I have a motion and a second?
I move to approve ordinance 23-01, an annual ordinance authorizing public library non-resident cards by the tax bill method.
I second.
Thank you.
So this ordinance allows for the purchase of a library card using the tax bill method calculation for those who may not live in our district, as long as the Lisle Library District is the closest library to their residence. Then they can purchase a card. And I asked the circulation director today, like how many people we have purchasing cards. It's 5. So 5 people that live outside of our district boundaries have purchased a card because we are their closest library.
Chris?
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Karen Larson.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Emily Swistak.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Thank you. Ordinance 23-02, meeting date ordinance. May I have a motion and a second?
I move to approve ordinance 23-02, a meeting date ordinance to set regular board meetings for the Lisle Library District.
I second.
Thank you.
Sorry. I know, that's why I'm so bad.
Uh-oh.
I know that cough.
Sorry. Again, self-explanatory ordinance, but by law, we need to affirm this list by ordinance, and we have to also post it to our library's website.
Chris?
Karen Larson.
Aye.
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Emily Swistak.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye. Thank you. 9B, adopt ordinance 23-03, transfer of funds to special reserve fund. Do I have a motion and a second?
I move to approve ordinance 23-03, a transfer of funds from the corporate fund to special reserve fund in the amount of $60,000 under 75 ILCS 16/40-50.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, so this transfer was approved when the board approved of the working budget. We can transfer more whenever we want, but we want to do this per the working budget so that it appears in the upcoming audit as of this fiscal year. The next fiscal year, we can transfer more if we want. And then just making a note, we also need to update our special reserve ordinance, which outlines why we are saving for capital projects or emergency items. So we will do that once we start talking about strategic planning, hopefully July, August. And then the board, via the strategic planning, can then determine how much more you want to save in the special reserve fund.
Chris?
Emily Sosak,
Aye.
Liz Sullivan,
Aye.
Vanessa Berry,
Aye.
Debbie Bryan,
Aye.
Karen Larson,
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye. Thank you. Item 10 is opportunity for trustee comments. We will start with Vice President Swistak.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Since you can't talk, I thought I'd start
Seriously.
with you.
No, it's okay. All right. I just want to say it's nice to see you, Director Weinstein, and out and about. I know it's been a rough month for you, so welcome back for this little bit. I wanted to commend Assistant Director Savage for holding down the fort for the past month. He's had a lot to deal with, I know, with just wearing two hats, being assistant director and youth services director, but then also with you being gone after your accident and then Beth retiring. It's been a steep learning curve for him. But every time that I've been in and had interactions with him, whether it just be in the library or at the summer read kickoff, he's been handling it really well, and I just commend him for all the work that he has done. And to me, that shows me that you selected the right person to be the assistant director. So kudos to both of you for that. So thank you.
Trustee Sullivan?
Just everything she said.
I know, and, you say everything so well, that we all just. Trustee Martin?
Not here. Martin's not here.
Oh, that's right. I'm going down the list, all right? Well, maybe we can, never mind. Trustee Larson?
Echoing
Right.
Emily's comments and looking forward to the July 4th parade. It will be hopefully cooler.
Yep.
Trustee Brienne?
Again, echoing everything and thanking Will for helping me get on board and get everything signed and showing me around in the back the other day, and just a great job on summer reading from somebody who does a lot of special events. I know what goes into it, and how nerve-wracking it is even when you're an old pro. It definitely you're always just looking at everything you did. It was a great job, and so many smiling faces, and just your staff was amazing. I mean, just again, the attention to detail was perfect. It was great, and as was the Warhol event. And I did send you that little thing from Facebook. Probably that was the last thing you were worried about the day after the event. But the Nally family posted a very, very nice comment about the whole event. It was the 1-year anniversary of Carlin's death, was the dedication. And they just said how wonderful the event was and how healing it was for them to be there that day and celebrate. And I mean, I don't know, if you don't know the family, you don't know that there was a huge presence of them there and just photographs. And so it was really, just such a nice event for them alone. And so it was really.
The family sent me a card. I just opened it today, so I'll share that with the board. I'll scan it and share it.
Yeah. So I know all the families felt it, but they really, I think, were very touched and pleased. And they're an education family, so I think they just loved the library. So great work, you guys.
Trustee Barry?
Yeah.
I agree with everybody. And, Yeah, the Warhol event was great, and I really loved the, like, take a selfie with the photos and then get discounts at the local businesses. I feel like if we kind of play that up, bring more people in and help out our community at the same time.
Thank you. I echo everyone's comments. I'm sorry I missed Summer Reed. I was on vacation. But the Warhol event was really great. And as Debbie mentioned, it was really sweet to see the family. They were so excited, every family. And like Tatiana shared, they all wanted to speak. Everybody had something really cool to say about the families. And
Yeah.
I didn't know all of them, and I've been here a long time in Lisle, but it was really wonderful.
Yeah.
That was quite successful.
Yeah.
Thank you for both of your efforts. Great. And Will, great job. I haven't heard one complaint from any of my neighbors, and that's always a good sign that things are going well. Great. Thank you.
Especially your neighbor.
And on that note, may we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Beat me. Second.
May I say all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn is carried, 7:41.
All right.
Yay.
Wow, I think that's a record.
Yeah.